Welcome to the Accidental Experts podcast. I'm your host, Bryce Hamilton. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and a child and family therapist. I have been in practice for over 15 years, and I'm also a mom of 4. So I know the challenges both professionally and personally. I'm so glad that you're here today to grow your parenting toolbox. Please come as you are and be ready to learn. My goal is to make you the accidental expert so that you can raise healthy humans. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I'm so glad you're with us today. So you are in for a real treat. We're going to be talking about acceptance commitment therapy, ACT. And our special guest is Eli Weinstein, and he is a clinical social worker who has a mission and a passion to using his experience, expertise with no BS mentality, a voice to help empower people to realize they are loved, powerful, and the life that they hope for is possible with some help, compassion, and guidance and realness. His style and approach is no BS, like talking to your best buddy, but he's a licensed professional as well. And he aims to create an inviting, fun, digestible approach to discussing emotional challenges and mental health and wellness. With that, let's welcome Eli.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited. It's been a couple months in the making, rescheduling for me, rescheduling for you, but we're here. We're here and we're ready and excited. We made it.
And we're going to be talking about acceptance commitment therapy. And I'm so excited for our audience to understand what this is. So thanks for agreeing to do this.
No problem. I love acceptance commitment therapy. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, and it's a newer modality. I don't know when it started, but I know that I'm old now. I don't feel old. I'm so young in spirit. But in terms of my training, it was not something that was offered or taught. And so, thankfully we do continuing education and learn new things, but I think this is a great modality. So I'm glad that we're here to talk about this. So
yeah. And by the way, CEUs stink. They're not that great,
I know they take up so much time. Some of them are
money.
Some of them are, yes. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm with you on that. Okay. So for those unfamiliar with acceptance commitment therapy, or ACT for short, can you talk to us about how it helps people, what its purpose is, why it works?
Yeah. So let's just give a backdrop of the history of psychology and the modalities. You start with Freud, right? With psychoanalytics and analyzing thoughts and dreams and unconscious and how it comes into the conscious. Then you go into behaviorism, where it's how your actions. Mm-hmm. And then we get into the 60s and 70s, where we get the crux of majority of what we do, which is CBT, right? Which is how our thoughts and our behaviors and our feelings all are intertwined and they impact each other.
Yes.
Since then, every other modality is basically built off of that with a different twist. Because CBT has years of research. So ACT is not redoing anything. It's not deleting anything. ACT is basically, if you look at CBT is, hey, you have a thought, let's reframe it, let's change it, let's remove it and put a new thought in. Kind of the basic foundation, right?
Yes.
DBT is two things can exist at the same time. And ACT is, how do we accept our feelings and thoughts, not trying to replace them, but get comfortable and used to them, maybe like them sometimes, or appreciate them for what they are. And it doesn't mean you can't add new feelings or new thoughts. It doesn't mean you can't play with the thoughts and reframe them, but we're not trying to delete them from our vocabulary. We're not trying to end them from our thoughts and our feelings and our history. We're trying to just accept reality as is and see where that takes us, and kind of learn to disconnect a feeling from a behavior or a feeling from a thought versus replacing it. In layman's terms, basic foundational stuff about the therapy. And when it comes to and you said this before we start recording, but I'll just mention it. What do you choose? All of them are great. And, DBT was created for borderline personality disorder back in the 80s and late 70s with Linehan. It's been researched to help with so many things because it's about how you deal with extremes, how you deal with feelings and thoughts to be a balanced, more grounded, mindful person. Okay, sounds great. Let's use that for anxiety and depression. Why not? It's been researched. ACT can be used for many things. IFS, all the different letters of the alphabet that are now modalities of therapy. It doesn't, there's no wrong one. It's all about the therapist that is wielding those skills to help it work for you. That's the main thing. It doesn't matter which one it is.
Yeah.
And of course there are some that are specifically for others things, like let's say EMDR and trauma. But like, it doesn't mean EMDR is bad for anxiety. It's not bad for you. It's just how the person utilizes them. And as the client, you help dictate and help the process along with the therapist as well, going along with you to make sure it's right for you. And it's okay to push back and ask questions if it is right for you and find something that is and helps, which is wonderful.
Yeah. Well, and I often tell people that finding a therapist is kind of like dating, right? It's like you have to find the right match. And so modality is just like a piece of how they do the work that they do, right? Versus it being the most important piece, but sometimes it can be really important, right? I use EMDR with lots of different diagnoses. But there's certain constructs that you need to be able to find in order for that to be something that you can use. Sometimes it might not be a possibility. But there's other things like CBT, right? Like you said, cognitive behavioral therapy, like that's super helpful to know that our thoughts determine how we feel and our feelings determine how we respond, and understand that process. So I like that ACT is just building on this. It's just a different framework. Do you find that a lot of people struggle to feel their feelings?
I think a lot of people struggle to know what they're feeling. Not that they don't feel their feelings. They don't know what their feelings are a lot of times, or know how to put words to what their feelings or frame in a way that makes sense. Every human being, for the most part, feels. So like what that is, or how it shows up, or where it comes from, or why I feel this versus that, or what is being pulled on within myself that is bringing out this feeling, is where we come in. But like everyone knows, like I'm angry right now, or I'm sad right now. Expressing the feeling, talking about the feeling is where it can get hairy for some people. And knowing which feeling it is and where it's coming from is also part of it as well. But everyone knows they feel. And if you don't, there's probably a reason for that.
Yeah. And then we dig into it.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So one of ACT's core principles is accepting these uncomfortable emotions, or that emotions can be uncomfortable, instead of trying to eliminate them, like you spoke about. What is a practical strategy? Like what's something that somebody could do at home to stop struggling with their feelings and start responding more intentionally to those emotions?
Yeah. So we're never going to try to stop the feeling, right? Because we're not robots. We're not turning like a switch and turning off our feelings. We want to know how to feel them. The question is like, okay, so can I deal and learn to handle that these feelings are happening and that there's nothing wrong with me for having feelings? So if I'm anxious about something, instead of yelling at myself and going, what the hell is wrong with you, Ellie? Why are you anxious? Grow up. You're just a baby. Like it's just a roller coaster. Get on the freaking roller coaster. Get over it. Accepting your feeling is going, oh, I understand why I'm feeling this way. I don't like it. No one's saying you have to like the feeling. I accept that this is part of how I live my life. Now, the commitment part of acceptance and commitment therapy is, does this line up with the values that I live my life with? Am I in line with getting uncomfortable here, angry here, sad here, whatever feeling, excited, whatever feeling that you have? Acceptance is going, okay, I have this feeling. Ellie feels this right now. Commitment is going, okay, can this align with who I am? And do I like this alignment? Do I need to adjust my values? Do I know my values, what it aligns with? So acceptance is really just saying to yourself, I am feeling this, and that's okay. Period.
Okay.
We would do that with our kids, right? My kid cries. There's nothing wrong with her crying. But it's understanding, okay, so you're crying. Good for you. Let it out. Feel it. Now what? So it's interesting because I utilize something from DBT with ACT a little bit. So like DBT has the radical acceptance, right? Which is a 3-parter, which is this happened, I feel, now what? And for me with acceptance, it's this happened, I feel. And commitment is going, and does this work for me? Is this within my values? There's a different third question in my mind.
Yeah.
And so that's something we can do with ourselves is, okay, I'm feeling something. Great. Not, what's wrong with you? How could you do this to yourself? Get it together.
Mm-hmm.
Start attacking yourself for just being a human.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what the acceptance is all about.
Mm-hmm.
Again, doesn't mean you have to like it.
So what if you find that you don't like you're upset at yourself because you failed to turn something in or get something done on time? Let's say it's the problem. Yeah. And you're mad at yourself, you're disappointed, you're frustrated, right? You're naming those feelings, right? You're like letting yourself feel that feeling. And then you're like, okay, it doesn't align with my values, right? Like I value honesty, or I value productivity, or whatever it is. And you're like, no, my behavior doesn't align. What do you do then?
Yeah. So then that is where we then come in as therapists to go, okay, if this is your value, right? And in the ACT world, it's called like committed action, right? If this is your value, this is what you want to do. What is happening in your system that is stopping you from doing that, right? So they have this like concept in ACT, which is called cognitive diffusion, where you kind of take the thought or the feeling. So you take the feeling and the thought and you're separating them. Like, I messed up, I'm bad. And they're interconnected, right?
Yes.
Okay, so now we say, okay, you messed up, doesn't mean you're bad. Okay, now we got to deal with the mess up. Because we have to take care of the action that you're showing up with. And if you want the value to not be on bad, but I am honest, I am true, I am, responsible. Okay, what actions or what ways are we going to think now that align with that value so we don't forget our paper, we don't procrastinate, so that we feel more in line with who we truly want to be. And it's about taking accountability. Like, I messed up. I did not follow what I wanted to follow. I did not listen to my values. I got distracted. I got whatever. And now I need to reset and have that committed action. What steps can I take towards that value system that I really love or really want to be like?
That makes so much sense. I love this type of therapy. It just makes sense. It's just so logical. It's
very logical.
Yes. Yeah. And I think sometimes we lose people when we get too complicated in therapy, when there's like too many steps or too many parts and right. And we're looking at too many things. This is very like in the present moment, dealing with the present thing. Right. I mean, obviously I think there's sometimes some history that is contributing to why we found ourselves unable to turn in the paper or unable to follow through with something. But that we're looking at this present moment and saying, okay, we could adjust our values. Maybe there's a difference here that like we need to like regroup that piece, or there is like something that's impeding our success.
Yeah, and the thing that I like about, and I mix and match a lot of different therapeutic styles. I'm not just one type of therapist.
Sure.
I'm not even like a regimented therapist. Like, I don't do a treatment plan with my clients in the way that like other therapists might do, where we're like, week 1, we're going to do this, and week 5, we better get to this. I hate that. I hate that for myself as a client. I hate doing that with my clients. I'm a very just like here and now, what is going on this week, or what do you feel you want to start working on? And it's just sometimes very refreshing to have someone just go, hey, here's what's happening. Why is it getting in your way? What feels off about what you're doing that you feel so annoyed about? You just didn't give in a paper. You gave in the next day. You emailed the teacher and everything's fine. Why are you annoyed? Well, and again, the whole thing is like, okay, we're going to come at it from a different perspective.
Yeah.
And it just creates just a right here, right now mentality versus other older therapeutic models like Freud with like, let's look back at your childhood and dive into every single thought you've ever had in your dreams and your unconscious. And like, that doesn't help me right here, right now at all.
Yes.
Not poo-pooing Freud.
I can't implement that. I mean, there's value, like so many things.
So much value.
That. Yes.
And if you look at like Stutz, like Phil Stutz, like that big, now he's famous therapist who was Jonah Hill's therapist. And now he has the book called The Tools and all the thing. And he is famous now for unfortunately having Parkinson's and still practicing. And that's what Shrinking is based off of, is the Harrison Ford character is Stutz.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
That's supposedly the story. Supposedly who they're basing it off. He gives 3x5 cards to every client he has with his like little tools, right? It's a here and now. Here, this is what you're going to use. Take it with you, right? And he says, and I wish I was able to learn under him and just get to know him. He's very similar to a supervisor that I had growing up in the world of therapy, and I love this mentality. It's like, I hope that every single person leaves my office thinking, oh, I know exactly what I did with Ellie. I know exactly what I'm going to do, and I know where we're at. Versus, what the hell did I just do for an hour with my therapist?
Yeah.
Like, make it practical, real, and take home is very important in my heart, and I think in a lot of the newer therapeutic models.
I agree. My clients laugh because they leave with, I have like neon colored pieces of paper that I've done like forever. And I just write down the tools because I don't want you to forget, right? Like I want you to know what it is that we're working on. And like I write instructions on like how to do it, right? So that you know is like your go-to. And I find that like sometimes we're doing really great and then later we like forget and we're like, oh, I need to go back to that tool. What was it? And then they have it. And so I like love that part. And when my clients are like, they saw me a couple of years ago and they're needing like a checkup kind of thing, or like new things have come up, they're like, I did use my cards. And I'm like, yes, like I love that part of like, it was really meaningful. And they were able to like go back to tools, even if it didn't give them the relief or help them in that particular thing, but they were like trying to use the skills.
Amazing. I love that.
Yeah. I didn't realize that he gave note cards. I have to watch that. Clearly I need to spend some time watching that show.
Well, it was a documentary, which is Jonah Hill and him, and then it turned into a whole conversation with Jonah. But he's been on many, many podcasts. And now this has to do with anything with what we're talking about now. But if you want to listen to like hear him, listen to podcasts a little bit time passed, a little bit ago.
Yeah.
Right now it's very hard to understand him.
Yes, I imagine. Yeah. That's a sad deterioration. Yeah. Okay. So let's say that someone does identify a value that they don't connect to at this time. Like they thought that they valued something, but it doesn't seem to be in alignment with their behavior. How do you walk people through redefining values?
Yeah, I think people are afraid that they think that just because they have values when they were in their 20s, that in their 30s reevaluating and redoing it, or in their 40s, that now they're like stuck in that value system, and you're not. Yeah. So it's just about like helping, like holding someone's hand through like what values still work for them and what don't. And it's okay to say, and this is like a little IFS, like to say like, thank you so much for all you did for me. It's time for you to retire.
Yeah.
Like it's okay to retire a player that does not work for you anymore. That's a little too slow. Not the right, style of play that you're looking for out of the team nowadays. There's a new coach in town. We got to cut some players and bring in new blood.
Yeah.
And that's what you're trying to do. Because I remember when I was 18 or 19, I had a mentor who's actually a psychologist. His name is David Lesson. And he did this thing with like a Venn diagram where you'd write all the things you're good at, all the things you're not good at. And the middle is what you should do or where you should lean towards in life. Right. So if you're good with kids, but you hate people, maybe, I don't know, like, or like you're really good with numbers and you don't like people, be an accountant, right? Or something like that.
Sure.
And if you hate school, maybe don't go into medical school because you'll be in school forever, right? Things like that.
Yes.
And he said, like, write it in pencil, because when you're single, you have different ways of looking and different skills of looking at the world. And then you're in a relationship and you learn new things about yourself. Yeah. And then maybe you're married, you learn new things. Maybe you have kids, you learn different things. And you're just able to then adjust, but it's the willingness to erase it with pencil and fill in a new skill, fill in a new ability, fill in a new value. And it's just helping the client realize that it's okay. Whether it's from their parents, their grandparents, a cultural value, whatever it is, it's okay to say, yeah, that worked for my generation in the past or worked for people before me, but right now I can't live up to that. I don't like it. Okay, so you're not destroying it from your history.
Sure.
You're just like putting it on the bench. You're benching the player, saying, okay, I don't need you anymore. We need other players.
Yeah.
And it's just finding what feels good, what feels comfortable, what feels fulfilling in that way to then move forward with your life.
Yeah. I like that, because I do think that sometimes we feel like we're betraying a part of our like past
Yeah,
or
that's
our,
IFS. That's a big part. Like there's no bad parts, right? That's IFS's whole
yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah. And it's hard to move a value, right? Like, because you feel like, like, what are people going to think if I don't
Yeah.
have that as like my number 5 value anymore?
Mhm.
That's not something that I am aiming towards. What will people think, and what will I think? And right. And so I definitely think that
And the
that's
funny thing is that when you say it like that, most people don't know what your values are.
sure.
I think
You're
in
right.
this day and age, I think people post so much and are like all out in the open, which is not what vulnerability is all about. It's not being open all the time and this blabbermouth of everything that we feel, we say, and everything we think has to be posted or everything we do. So I think people are like, oh, they're going to realize that I started wearing pants when I always wore skirts, or that I changed my hairstyle, or like maybe I'm leaning differently sexually, and they're going to figure out like, or with how I deal with my kids.
Yeah.
No one knows unless you just talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
The only one that has to be comfortable is your inner circle and you.
Yeah.
That's all that really matters.
So true. Yeah, it's funny that you say that we're all out online. I remember when Facebook came out when I was in college. This is aging myself a bit, but I was like, what are we supposed to put on there?
You have to put
Right?
the
Like I was
food,
like,
how many times you pooped that day, and and
I
all
know
the.
everybody was like taking pictures of their food, and I was
And it
like,
was like
what?
Twitter. It was like before Twitter also. So it was like every random thought was like a post.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. It was like a diary to yourself. Like I had to
Yeah.
explain to my mom that it was like something that other people could read. Right. Like I'm
Yeah.
like, don't post something that you don't want other people to know. And
Yeah.
she was like, oh, okay. Like it just, and yeah, it makes me laugh. So thanks for
Yeah.
bringing up that humor
No
part
problem.
of our, everything's out. Okay. So let's wrap up with this idea of like, you talked about cards or like giving people a tangible skill. What are a couple skills that you feel like are things that people could implement that are kind of around this ACT based model that they could use in their life today?
Yeah. So I said two, but I'll repeat them again. But one of them is this cognitive diffusion, about separating a thought and a feeling from being. I can feel something. It doesn't mean that it's the same as my thinking, and my thinking doesn't have to be the same as my feeling. Right. So it's learning and trying to hear the difference or figure out the difference, that I can have a thought and not have any feelings associated. And I got a feeling, it doesn't mean I have to think about it, or it doesn't have to be a deep seated thought. And that now defines me, as a idea versus it just passing by. Another one is like I said before, committed action. This is like taking steps towards whatever value that is. One step. If I want to be healthier, right, that's a value. I want to be healthier, let's say. General thought. Okay, what's that step? Is that eating differently? Is that going to the doctor more to get my blood work? Is that going to the gym one time more a week? Is that going to the gym at all? Is that walking? Is that running with your kids? Is that one step is commitment to that value? When it comes to like the acceptance piece, it's just letting them happen, letting your feelings happen without attacking, fighting, or trying to figure it out. It's like, oh, I had a feeling, it's okay. I had a thought, I'm okay. Everyone's okay. And I think the last one is the idea that a lot of the therapeutic models, whether it's DBT, ACT, mindfulness, and even CBT is mindfulness, right? And it's all about just being present with what I'm feeling right now without it being connected to past or future, but like what it feels here today.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes very hard for us, where we have something that's so integral to a past, or even maybe we're anxiety, which is a lot about the future, is something that like I can be anxious right here without my future being dictated or my past being impacted. And that's very much an acceptance thing, right? I said the 3 questions. I feel, right? What happened? I feel. And then is this in line with who I am? And kind of taking that with you wherever you go as much as you can, and how you can do it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for breaking down this model. I think, sometimes therapy seems like such a mystery to clients, and we don't know what it is exactly that we're doing without researching it. And sometimes even when we research it, it's like, I'm still confused. What are we really doing here? So it's helpful to have somebody who is knowledgeable about that to break it down for us. So thank you so much for your time.
No problem.
Thanks, Ellie. That was all really helpful. Hopefully that has given you a great overview of acceptance commitment therapy and what it has to offer. With that, I will say, please subscribe to our show. If you could just take a moment right now and click that subscribe button or like button and even add a review or rating, that would be amazing. We would greatly appreciate it. And then if you have listened to an episode that has been incredibly powerful, if you will just share that with a family member or friend, we would be eternally grateful. Thank you so much for your time today. Have an amazing day. Some words from our legal team.
The information presented in this podcast is not intended or implied to be a substitute for appropriate professional advice, diagnosis, or treatment. All content, including text, graphics, images, and information contained on or available through this podcast, is for general information purposes only. This podcast makes no representations and assumes no responsibility for the accuracy or information on or available through this podcast, and such information is subject to change without notice. You are encouraged to confirm any information obtained through this program with other sources and review all information regarding any condition or treatment with the appropriate professionals.
What we're saying is, yes, I am a real therapist, but I'm not your therapist.